everyone, and welcome to another great episode of the Good Work Show. I'm gonna change it up next time. I'm gonna just say something different, but this time it's the same.
Okay. This one's exciting because it's one of our, favorite topics. It's about food.
Food, hey, yeah. It's not about bacon specifically, but it is
not
about
bacon.
Food.
Though I wonder because we did, we're talking to Food Well Alliance and talking all about urban agriculture and local farms and that kind of stuff. I will say this, the farmers market, and I don't even know if they still do it, the farmers market at the Carter Center.
Yeah, you keep telling, I've still never been.
I hope they still have it because it was a great farmers market. But when I tell you I got the best sausage from there.
Yeah, you said that.
Like ground breakfast sausage. So bacon may be on the, you're not growing it. It's because, we talk about urban farming and we think about like growing things, but people may have some.
They might have some like, hey, chickens, if you can have eggs, like fresh eggs where you don't have to, that was the weirdest thing to me. When I first had, I was like, why are these eggs out on the, you need to put these in the refrigerator. I was like, this is not good. But then as I understood, I was like, okay, this, you could do it. But yeah, the fresh eggs, those are really good.
Yeah. And if you have we used to have a vendor who used to bring us eggs all the time because she had chickens and she would bring eggs. Yep.
I think that's when I first, you see it on TV and, all this stuff. I was like, that's props. but really, it's like, oh, you mean this is all right to eat? And the eggs were really good.
I'm sure they were. I don't eat eggs like that, but I'm sure they were quite tasty. Yeah. But yeah, so talking to Food Well Alliance, which I think is really good timing because I just think, we'll talk to Kate about this, COVID, everybody had hobbies. And so I think it's twofold. One, people had hobbies and they were looking for something to do. But then also, I think, we've talked about the food insecurity around COVID and the rising prices. And, this might be an option for some folks if you, to be able to supplement your groceries and that kind of stuff by growing your own food. This is, my mother, I think we talked about this, like my grandfather had his farm. So like they always had food. I don't know if they always had money, but they always had food. So, there's that. So this should be a fun conversation. And even if you're not necessarily interested in growing the food, you might be able to find some connections to be able to purchase local food.
Yeah. Or at least just become aware that there could be a farm in your backyard. In your backyard, but in your community. Well, and you could support it. You could go.
Have we shared on the show about the pumpkins that are randomly growing in my backyard?
I think we did talk about that. So you might have a farm in your backyard.
I could totally have. I don't know what else is back there. I
could have a whole farm in my yard. I probably could have some. I'm not having growing hogs, but I might could. I bet you my county is zoned for it.
You could for sure. I think about how much money you could save on Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts alone.
Right.
Just Brussels sprouts alone.
That is I got 2 bags of Brussels sprouts in the refrigerator right now. I'm like, shoot, should I be growing Brussels sprouts? Because
I'm telling you, there's a few staples. If I'm going to the grocery store, there are a few things I go every single time. And Brussels sprouts are on the list. Red peppers are on the list.
So did you
romaine lettuce is on the list.
Did you know that red peppers were just ripe green peppers?
I did know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, you leave them on there for a little bit longer.
And they turn red.
And they turn red, yeah.
So is orange the middle?
Now, I don't know about orange. You got me off a little bit.
Or yellow? Because like, is that
I don't know. I feel like it might be, but then you got the yellow one and I'm not. So the yellow one might be before, but I think it's the sweetness factor. So yellow's still sweeter than green. So I don't know if it works all the way through. I feel like that might be a hybrid.
Because here's the thing. Those peppers are a lot more expensive than green peppers.
Yes, they are. And they're better for, to me. I can eat a red pepper like an apple. So
I don't do that, but I have a recipe that I make fairly regularly that specifically calls for orange bell peppers. And I never thought about why it had to be the orange ones, but they do taste different. But also, all this to say, I learned that because on Twitter, they were showing how you can grow your own bell peppers.
Yeah, I think I saw that same video. Where you put the little seed like, in the thing, did it like, and then he's like, then 2 weeks later, take it out of this and do that.
Yes, and put
I thought about doing it, but I was like, nope, let me just go to Sprouts or Kroger and continue on what I've been doing, because the last time I tried to grow my own, and cilantro is always on the list. I get cilantro every time. Typically, though, my cilantro goes bad before I can use it all, but I use it a lot. So yeah, I tried to grow my own cilantro in the window, and that didn't work out so good. So I need to hook up with Food Well Alliance and figure out where I went wrong in the cilantro growing.
But so one day, if I'm ever brave enough, I'll go venture. I mean, I say this, I don't think it's ever going to happen. Go venture and see what's happening with those pumpkins back there, and see what else
might be a whole. You never know. You might come up on a whole garden.
Because here's the thing. I mean, that's the stuff that I can see from the window. I don't know what else is down there. Could be cucumbers. There could be a whole host.
And if there are cucumbers, you're gonna find those for years. Like my mom had a garden in her backyard, and I'm telling you, cucumbers and green beans. Like we couldn't stop having cucumbers and green beans. I was like, this something's wrong with this. Like it was just every day there was more. It was like Groundhog Day. Cucumbers.
I love cucumbers, so that would be something I could have every day, just like sliced with a little bit of vinegar on them. Like that's all I could do. But anyway, so we're going to hear from Food Well Alliance and hear about some people that actually know what they're doing and what when it comes to growing their food, and then how it's actually impacting the city and how they're helping people get connected to resources. So it should be fun.
All right, let's hear from Kate. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Good Work Show. We're excited because we've got a friend of the Good Work Show back on the show again, the Food Well Alliance, and the executive director is here with us this time, Kate Connor. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Trinice and I know about Food Well Alliance because we had a chance to do an interview. This is pre-COVID, so all of our memories are pretty much gone.
Yeah, pretty much erased, like everyone.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
But we loved the mission and what you all are doing, but we'd love for you to just give everybody listening today and everybody watching today a really good overview of like who you are, what your mission is, and what you do.
Yeah, sure. Food Well Alliance provides resources and support to local growers to connect and build healthier communities. So when we think of local growers, that's specifically urban farmers and community gardens located right here in kind of metro Atlanta. 5 counties is the area we serve, which is Fulton, Cobb, Gwinnett, Clayton, and DeKalb counties. So anyone kind of growing in those spaces, food that makes its way to the public, either through donations or through sale, or feeds families who are gardening and community plots, that's who we're here to support. So for the other sort of side of it is we're also looking to connect people to these growing spaces. So that may be, people who just have an interest in farming, or, they like tomatoes and they want to learn how to grow the best ones possible. So that's also who we like to talk to.
Cool. So talk to us about urban farming and what's that definition? If I have, like a tomato plant on my patio, does that count? Or
that absolutely count. Yeah, no, anyone who is growing food is, I guess technically an urban farmer. When we sort of have to ultimately define a farm, they have a business license to sell food. So, okay. But again, like you and I are urban growers, well, let's say growers.
Well, I'm not. I was using that as an example. I've got one plant that Elaine gave me against my will that I keep alive, but other than that, I don't grow things.
And it's not a food flowering plant.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I bet you're eating local food and you don't know it. So, I mean, when you think about it, Georgia is an agriculture state, but most of the people in our state live in Georgia, and I mean, live in Metro Atlanta. So they're not necessarily connected to where their food is grown. So urban agriculture plays a huge role in terms of connecting people to their food. So while there's people here growing food that everyone is eating, maybe it's in restaurants or farmers markets or even in school programs, a lot of schools have gardens. Really, it's about connecting people, through local food. So community gardens, for example, you have families coming together from different backgrounds who pretty much their commonality that they share is usually some sort of a, kind of neighborhood, because community gardens are pretty much neighborhood focused, but they have a love of food. And so they may not know how to grow it, but they'll come to this area and learn from others. And it's, we like to say it's about 90% community, 10% gardening. So it's about people coming together around food.
Yeah. So interesting. Well, I'm interested to know, Kate, did you see more of a pickup or more of an interest in urban farming since the pandemic? I know a lot of people tried their hands at things, and Trinice mentioned a tomato plant on the backyard, but I bet there was probably a lot more, just because people were, when even now, I mean, food prices have quadrupled, in the last 2 years. And so are you seeing I don't want to say a resurgence, but maybe a surge in the interest and availability of people thinking like, hey, I could actually do this and make a living off of it. Tell us about how COVID affected your business and your organization.
Yeah, I mean, we absolutely saw that happen. And, from backyard growers to farmers just stepping up to understand that they were going to truly have to provide food for their community. So I felt like it was hyper focused now on food. And as you said, it even still is. I think I read a statistic out of a consulting firm saying that maybe 70% of people, probably more, have negative connotations of going into a grocery store since COVID started. And that's, fear of probably getting sick, but prices, empty shelves. So local food is just becoming a much more sort of accessible and pleasant way to get groceries. And so while we know urban farmers or community gardens aren't going to provide all the food you need to subsist, it's a great way to feel really a lot better about the food you're eating. It's the healthiest food if it's grown close to you. Most of the people we support are growing using organic practices or regenerative, which means healthy soils, less chemicals. And so, yeah, we just feel like not only has been there an interest because people are home and they needed something to do, but just because going to the store became so much more unpleasant. Farmers markets are outside, going to farm stands outside. It just was a lot better. So
100% agree with that. So talk to us about the resources that you provide to the farmers. So once folks connect with you, what are they learning? What are they getting? What kind of support are they getting from the organization?
Yeah. And this actually changed a little bit too during COVID. So we were started 6 years ago, primarily as sort of a grant making organization. Just, folks would apply for grants and we would grant that. And we realized farming and emergencies and pandemics don't fall within a grant cycle. So someone may have a flood and need some extra labor support or some compost to help fill in. So during COVID, we really switched from kind of a grant cycle or cycles for applications to get resources to just availability. And when I say that resources, I mean compost, we deliver tons of compost to farms and gardens, and that's like black gold. It's expensive too. So we're able to purchase it in bulk, get it delivered. That's one less thing folks have to worry about. We still do make grants, and we like to see them now more as kind of annual operating grants that folks can rely on. But we can support them. As I said, labor's a big thing. Whether you have folks you want to pay, you already know, we'll provide a labor stipend, or we have access to contractors who will come out and say, if you need heavy machinery, tilling and that kind of thing, we'll do that. We also have tools at the Atlanta Tool Bank that are specific for farmers. And these are like, we call it a BCS tractor. And those are like the best of the best tractors, so a farmer can till their own soil if they can't afford to purchase it. And then, everything from seedlings, seeds, fertilizer, natural fertilizers. We provide technical assistance in the form of, you don't know how to deal with a certain problem. We have folks who can come help, legal assistance, value-added product development. So say you have, tomatoes, we keep going back to the tomatoes at the end of the season, you think, oh, I've got all these tomatoes. Some don't look great for selling. We have someone who can help you develop the best salsa product that you could bring to market. So anything you can kind of think about, sort of wraparound services. So that's sort of the start of it. But yeah, we still do provide grants, but what we've learned is that we need to be a lot more flexible in how we support the growers in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if COVID hasn't taught us anything, flexibility is probably one of the things that,
yes,
that we all took away from it. And you also have done some things around policy and advocacy for urban agriculture. Can you talk a little bit about that, and what should we be looking out for, or maybe even telling our local elected officials, like, hey, we're interested in this. If you are interested in getting that local, fresh, right from your community food, mm-hmm. What should we be telling our local elected officials?
Well, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the big things we kind of realized, if cities or municipalities aren't set up to support urban agriculture, we can only get so far by providing resources. So, we see that as sort of the structural side of things. And so what we do is we offer a service called City Agriculture Planning. So we work with the best Atlanta Regional Commission. They're our partner on this project. And just like they would do a transportation plan or a housing plan, they do an agriculture plan. And that goes into, so the city applies for it. They apply to be part of this program. With that application, we work with not only city planners, but all the folks in the local food movement in that city to kind of come to the table and sort of lay out, what are the resources we have here? What do we want to see? Listen to people in the neighborhoods and the schools and the businesses, and then plot it out. And we have a plan. So they have a roadmap going forward. And so it's not only about like, say, oh, let's add a farmer's market, but it may be, let's change the zoning code to allow for, growing food on the front yards, or maybe it's an agricultural water rate. So you're not watering your food with sort of, I guess, municipal type water rate. So it can be anything. It could be changing vacant lots into community garden spaces that are sanctioned by the city. So we did our first plan in the city of East Point, which is now, so the plan has been completed. It's moved to the implementation phase. We got a grant from the USDA of $250,000 to partner with that city of East Point to implement. And so that's underway. And then right now we're working with our second city, which is the city of Alpharetta, and they're in the planning phase. So even I was there Saturday with some community volunteers at their farm, Old Rucker Farm, which is a city-owned farm, which is unique, to just hear what people were interested in. They have a great school farming program up there. So it's awesome to hear student voices and what they want to see. So we'll have that plan hopefully developed by the end of this year. And then the city of Alpharetta will be able to implement the suggestions learned, and then we'll launch in another city. So we're excited about that. It gives growers and people who are engaged with local food a seat at the table alongside planners and government workers. So there's all the voices are heard and considered.
How many farms are there in your area?
We serve about 35 farms in those 5 counties and about 120, 150 community gardens. So I believe there's many more community gardens. I think I saw a statistic, there's up to 300.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that doesn't include school gardens. That's not an area we serve particularly. But I mean, it's Georgia. This is a great place to grow food. We like to grow food. We have a great climate. I mean, you can grow year round here. So why not really lean into that and lift it up?
Absolutely. Well, awesome. I think this is a great overview. If you are interested, listeners, if you want, to expand, get the resources for your community garden, or you're an urban agriculture and you need the resources, information, connections, Food Well Alliance is going to be your go-to. So Kate, would you give everybody the website address, best place to get to you so that they can find out if there are things that are coming up that they should look for, maybe events or things? Can you tell us a little bit about that too?
Absolutely. So I really want to mention our Soil Festival, which is our biggest event. We hold it. Well, we're bringing it back. The last time we did it was in 2019. It's a huge festival at a farm in West Atlanta called Truly Living Well. They are like the motherland for urban agriculture and recognizing, the role agriculture plays in the community. And so we invite 2,000 of our, closest friends to come out to Truly Living Well to see what life is like on an urban farm. And we call it the Soil Festival because we like to say it starts with the soil. If you don't have great soil, you aren't going to plant great things. And soil, is all about compost, and we tie it in so food waste can go into the soil, create great soil. So we talk all about that, but it's a super fun day. It's May 7th. That's a Saturday. And we have music, we have local food, we have compost demonstrations. We have like a kid zone with, farm animals, face painting, vermiculture. That means they get to learn how to compost using worms, get their hands dirty. We have a beer garden for adults. We have workshops on home gardening, as you had mentioned earlier, composting, compost giveaways. We have chef demonstrations. We're doing like an herbal kind of concoction. So if you only grow herbs, we have a chef who will be there showing you what all you can make with those herbs. So it's a great day. And there's information about that on our website. There is a ticket cost, but the tickets come with food and drinks. And so it's a great, great value. And of course, the neighbors right on the west side can come for free because they're our special guests. So that's one way. If you can't make it on May 7th, we actually offer volunteer opportunities throughout the year. And so folks can come and volunteer at community gardens and farms, and those are available, those opportunities. I think we do 2 or 3 projects a week. You can come out, get your hands dirty, decide, hey, is this for me? Is it not? I never want to touch a sweet potato again. But yeah, it will give you an appreciation for where food comes from, the work it takes, and it's just great. So yeah, volunteer with us, come to the Soil Festival, but just check out our website and see what other things we have going on. So it's foodwellalliance.org. We're also on Instagram and Facebook. So check us out there. We have some great videos on YouTube as well, talking about, how to compost or how to grow plants, that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for that. Everybody, if you get a chance, check out the Soil Festival. That's going to be your key to get all the great information and get some good foods.
Yeah.
The food is awesome.
Fresh. Local food vendors they source the food right from the farm and then show you how to use it. So it's a fantastic day.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kate. It was great catching up with you. Foodwellalliance.org, everybody. Check out the website.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
You too.